Hello, and welcome to today's training where I will teach you some Mace fundamentals. So what do I mean by fundamentals? I'm going to teach you basically how to be safe while you Mace training. Now, Mace training is not like training with dumbbells and barbells in the gym. It's not even close to kettlebells. It is a really unique tool. And it has the potential to really injure you. I mean, you are swinging a mace around the body, so it is dangerous. I'm going to teach you how to be safe. And what are we going to cover in today's training? We're going to cover how to pick up the mace safely to start your training session. We're going to cover the different grips. So how you hold the mace safely. We are going to cover, what else are we going to cover? How to modify the grip on your mace when you're just learning a movement. So some of the movements are really challenging, even with a really light mace. So I'm going to show you how to reduce the load on the body by kind of moving up and down the mace with your grip and some other things, okay? I'm going to definitely open the floor to questions as well, because not only a lot of women and men are super interested in the mace training. I have had so many messages, so many questions, so many inquiries about mace training. It's really warming my heart. It is wonderful that people are interested in kind of changing their perspective and their views on what training can look like for us, okay? So rather than just falling back always on the conventional weight training in the gym, which I personally think was designed for men, not for women, but that's okay. If I'm not like, I don't want to bash men, obviously, but I really believe that gym and weight training and lifting weights was designed for men. It doesn't suit female bodies as much. So I really believe that if you are looking for a different way to train, maybe you are burnt out from your exercise routine, maybe you are broken by your exercise routine. And if you saw my testimonial from our beautiful Gretel yesterday, Gretel was doing CrossFit and had a really awful pain in her hip. And as a result of going through my program, she's actually decided to quit CrossFit for good, because she realized that it's actually not right for her body and it's just causing her injuries. Although she was getting amazing gains and was really enjoying it, was enjoying the community and the exercise, she decided that it was not for her. And I see that all the time. I have athletes as clients. I have people that have been super active and really performing at a really high level, but now they're realizing in midlife that they just can't do that anymore. So they either burnt out, broken, or bored. Like I personally was quite bored by weightlifting. It just didn't give me enough interest. It wasn't interesting enough. It was boring. So if you are one of those people, and if you love to weight train, go for it. Go for gold. But there is a lot of women out there, and I know because I serve them, that are not into that. So discover something else. So that's what we're going to do today. We are going to run through some Mace fundamentals, because ultimately I want you to be safe while you're training with a steel mace. And the potential to rip ligaments and tendons, tear muscles, injure joints, and smack yourself on the head are actually quite high, okay? If you're joining me live, let me know who you are and where you're joining me from. And if you have any questions throughout this whole training, just pop them in the chat box. If you're watching replay, still ask questions. I always go back and answer them, okay? So how to pick up your steel mace safely. I'm just going to go back. So I'm going to demonstrate it with my big boy mace, my 6 kilo, okay? So there was about 8 women in the Facebook group who bought maces just in the last week. It's phenomenal. It is so good. So for those of you who are receiving their maces in the mail right now, how exciting. What an incredible gift you've given yourself. So how do you pick maces safely up off the floor when you want to start training with them? Obviously, when you have your 4 kilo or 7 pound mace, it's not going to be a big deal because it's light. You can pick it up safely. But what I often say is establish the safety habits early. And then when you start progressing in weight, like the 6 kilo is pretty chunky, it's pretty heavy, then, you have the skills already to pick up and handle your mace safely so you don't get injured, okay? So what do? You obviously grab your mace from somewhere where it's sitting, and then you are going to open your hand, yeah? You're going to slide it all the way to the mace ball. Remember where the mace ball is, that's obviously the heaviest part of the mace. The number one safety rule in mace training is that you always want to have 100% control over the heaviest part of the mace, okay? And we're going to cover a little bit more of that a little bit later in the training. So open the hand, slide your hand towards the mace ball. Grip it, over grip it, yeah? And then obviously you're going to go into a nice deadlift. Now that's important with the 4, but once you go up, yeah? So engage your glutes, engage your abs, pick up the mace. You're not going to pick up the mace with your back, but hopefully you know how to pick up things safely off the ground, okay? To release the mace, you can reverse or you can just gently slide it down, okay? So over grip, under grip, pick it up and bring it up, okay? Any questions about picking up the mace? Someone's watching. Say hello. Don't be shy. Okay? So I grabbed it in here and then I slide towards the mace ball and I pick it up. Pick it up safely with your legs in the deadlift rather than your back. Okay? So that's how you pick up the mace safely. Rule number 1, okay? I'm going to grab a lighter mace now and we're going to go through grips. There's many ways how you're going to grip the mace, okay? If you've been to my training or the training that I'm going to run, I really kind of use 2 main ones, which is the under-over grip and the over-over grip, all right? It will make sense when I show it to you. So what's an under-over grip? You're going to go under by the mace ball, yeah? So you're going to open your palm and you're going to grab the mace ball. Not here, but here. You always want to have 100% control over the heavy part of the mace, unless obviously you're going into the 360 movements in that case, obviously. Or if you're doing like flag squats, then you're obviously holding the mace here. But for most of the movements, you would go under, over, grip. Yeah? Under, over. How far you hold the mace, that really doesn't matter because obviously everyone's arms are different length. There is a possibility that your mace might be a different length as well. Hopefully they don't vary too much. The ones that I included in the directory should be the same length as my ones, but just in case, hold it somewhere where it's comfortable for you, okay? Obviously you're going to be like doing squats or doing kind of any stack movements, wrist swings, yeah? Strikes, that's all under over grip. So that's the grip number 1. Grip number 2 is over grip. So now I'm over gripping it by the mace ball and also over gripping it on the end. So these usually are used for overhead pressing, or we use this one for better lunges, rotational lunges, or side rotational lunge. Okay, You can do a stick with overgrip as well. Then there is a lot of funky movements like this where you're lunging and doing this, okay? So these are the two most frequently used grips. Under, over, and over, over, okay? Any questions about the grips? If you've already got your mace, then practice here, okay? So I'm going to teach you a couple of switches as well, because obviously what's really fun about the mace training is the switching, yeah? So when you first start, like let's say doing squats, you're going to be just doing them under, over. But as you get a little bit more sophisticated in your movement, then you can start switching, okay? So the most basic switch is the prayer pose switch. You go from under, over. Now you're going to start sliding this hand up towards the mace ball, and you're going to end up in this position. Obviously, it's called prayer pose position for obvious reasons, okay? Then you're going to switch and slide, and you are on the other side, okay? I'll come a little bit closer. It is important that you have both hands on the mace at all times, that you don't let go. Sometimes I see sloppy kind of switches. No, you have to go slowly at the beginning to learn how to switch while maintaining both hands on the mace at all times. And don't skip this, okay? Because you might get away with it when you have a light mace, but trust me, once you start picking up heavy maces, you're gonna have to have full control over that all the time, okay? So start really slowly, take your time, build up the skill, and then eventually you will be able to slide a little bit faster. Just a disclaimer, when you get sweaty hands, it gets a little bit harder. Like I'm a really sweaty exerciser. And then once you get really clammy hands, the hands don't really slide on the mace as well. Or when you decide to exercise outside, like I often do, and it's raining, then the mace gets really slippery as well, okay? So just be careful there. So this is your prayer pose switch, yeah? Practice, go nice and slow. You want to have nicely packed shoulders as well. And you want to transition the mace as close to your body. Don't do it here. Do it as close to your sternum or your chest as you possibly can, okay? Then we have a bayonet switch, which is really fun. So bayonet switch we use when we do battle lunges, okay? So you're going to have an over grip. Yeah, and bayonet switches we do on battle lunges. So battle lunge is this really awesome rotational forward lunge. Super cool movement. It just makes you feel real badass. So the way you're gonna switch through the bayonet switch is you are gonna start transferring the mace kind of in front of you, in front of your kind of lower abdomen, okay? So, and you're gonna go from over grip to under grip, slide. Note this is like a reverse prayer pose. You switch the hands and then over grip it, and then you are in the same position in the over grip on the other side. Okay, let's go the other way. And inside the Warrior Woman program, I have videos on how to do this as well. All right, so if you are keen to jump in, then know that I have a lot of safety videos. I have grip switches. I have how to hold the mace, how to pick it up. I have all of these videos inside the program as well, because I want you to really enjoy it and get phenomenal results without any injuries, okay? So from here, open the hand, slide in front of you, close the hand, come to the other side, okay? So again, just practice really slowly. Make sure again that the hand is always landing by the mace ball, because that is the heaviest part of the mace, okay? So this is called the bayonet switch. It's super fun because like if you're going into circuit training, yeah, you can just go and switch from side to side without wasting a lot of time. But at the beginning, obviously, again, just go super, super slowly, master the skills. All right. Now I'm going to show you how you can adjust the intensity of the training by positioning your hands on the mace. Obviously, the mace is very kind of has offset weight. So normally when you're doing in the gym, you're doing bicep curls, you've got kind of the weight very close to you. When you're doing mace movements and you're doing things like this, the weight is really far away. It's, you know, when you're swinging it, and that is the challenge, okay? It's very far away from your body. The mace ball is about 1 meter away. When you're doing your stick movements, your strikes, your rear swings, you know, or like your rotational swings or a full rear swing, yeah, is difficult. And I know that when women first start training with a steel mace, they found this particularly challenging. So what you can do, you reduce the range of motion on these movements. So with bow and arrow, you just go partially. You just go a little bit, okay? And you build the strength gradually. If you want to go into a rear swing, which is this movement, again, you reduce. And if you jump into the warrior woman, I have all these modifications in all of the videos. Okay, you'll get a movement library where I break down the movements bit by bit and how to build safely, you know, your strength and stability in the body. And then again, when I'm teaching flows or when I teach inside the program, the strength training, interval training sessions, again, I give you all of the options constantly. So don't think that you need to rush into it. Like I really urge you to build. This is unlike any training you've ever done before, okay? It's challenging, it's amazing, and it's potent, it's fast results, but you don't want to push it too much. You want to challenge your tissue just right, but not too much, okay? So what you're doing, you're just kind of reducing the range of motion, yeah? Evenly, a full stack is here. So at the beginning, you're going to lock, and you're just going to go partially, okay? So you're reducing the range of motion. Obviously here, the mace is the most challenging. Here, you're just building up gradually and you go further and further over time. And then eventually you are in the full range of motion. The same with here. If you're doing vertical pressing, again, you can just go partially. If you're going overhead pressing, again, just go partially, reduce the range of motion, okay? Now, how do you reduce the loading when you're doing movements? I can't do the full standing 360 here because I don't have high ceilings, but this is the 360, okay? It is literally the signature move for the mace, and it is incredible. I read somewhere that it actually cleanses your energetic field, and that's why it feels so good. But obviously, incredible core strength and core stability, strong arms, stability in the legs as well. So a phenomenal movement for turning you into a pretty strong human being. So, and where you start with these movements, and again in the program, I break it all down, is that you choke it. This is called choking the mace. Yeah. Obviously here, it's going to be the most challenging, but here, much easier. It gives you the ability to slow down the movement. So that is called choking the mace. You go from this to this, okay? So you're reducing the traction, yeah? Obviously, you're not reducing the weight. You can't, but you're reducing the traction, okay? So those are just like a few little tips and tricks. Obviously, inside the program, I go a lot deeper on this as well, on each individual movement. And what I have a lot of questions about is, would the program suit me if I'm a total beginner? yes, you would always find some form of the movement that is good for you. Remember, my youngest client was 10, which was my daughter. My oldest client is 80 and 83. So I'm currently coaching a couple. The lady is 80, the man is 83. And I am exclusively teaching them the steel mace. And they are fine, okay? They are not obviously the fittest, strongest people I've ever seen, but they have a really good base of just all around strength and fitness, and they just picked up the mace and they're running with it because, again, I'm breaking it down for them step by step, making it easier in the movements. Like obviously for women, it's a little bit more challenging with the upper body strength movements. With men, they have a little bit of an easier time. So if you think that you are a beginner, if you think that you're not coordinated enough, you're not fit enough, you're not strong enough, then I tell you that you can absolutely start with mace training without much problems, because I will give you a really wide range of movements and modify them to suit a beginner or a seasoned athlete. If you are a seasoned athlete and you're super fit and you're super strong, you're super sporty, you will still start really light because it's new, okay? So eventually you'll probably be able to progress in weight and complexity much faster, but it is still a really unique, unusual training that you might not have done before. So even if you're a seasoned athlete and you're thinking, hey, that looks too easy, it's not, okay? It is not easy. And when I started with mace, I was already doing tech fit for years and years, right? I was surfing, I was really fit and strong, but I had to start from the beginning as well. But I've noticed like phenomenal strength. I have a 5 kilo mace as well, but I have only just bought the 6 kilo, probably about 6-8 months ago. So it took me about 18 months to work up to 6 kilos, okay? And there's still probably some movements that I can't quite do with it, yeah? Like, yeah, the swing is pretty challenging. So some movements are really challenging for me too. So going up 1 kilo or 2 in the steel mace, it's not going to be the same as going up 1 or 2 kilos with a dumbbell, barbell, or even a kettlebell. It's going to feel significantly heavier. And I would say that most of my clients for the first 6 to 12 months will be on a 4 kilo mace. Maybe a little bit like with simple deadlifts, they might go on to 5, but the 4 is a really good starting weight that will serve you for quite some time. Okay? Any questions, my loves, about this? You can see there's a couple of people watching. I'm so excited. So many people are buying a steel mace. It's just phenomenal. I think I've got about 8 different messages from people kind of like, oh, my mace is going on Thursday and I've just ordered mine and Santa's bringing me a steel mace. I mean, what an incredible gift to give yourself for Christmas. The gift of lifelong fitness and mobility and strength. And let's be honest, like, it's not boring. It's not boring, these movements. It's fun and it's challenging in the right way. And what I found about the steel mace, that what I probably treasure the most is that it gives me the freedom to do anything I want. Anything. Obviously, I can surf for hours. I do a lot of gardening. I have really active kids. You know, they always drag me out to skate and bike ride and do other things. I can go for hikes. I can walk for as long as I want. It's an incredible feeling to know that you have the freedom to do anything you desire. And there could be a sport, there could be a physical activity, there could be something that you enjoy, but it could be something also like putting your grandchildren into a car seat. I mean, do you remember? I mean, the amount of times I tweaked my back when I was picking up my babies and putting them in the car seat in that awful rotational movement and then trying to kind of hike them up. I mean, it's atrocious. So knowing that, you know, all of these incredible rotational movements that you'll be doing with the mace will be equipping you for one day, putting that baby grandchild into the car seat, or digging up the garden, or picking up your groceries, cleaning your house. I mean, all of these things that we take for granted now, but in 10, 20 years, suddenly when you lose them, you realize that by losing the ability to clean your house, you're going to lose your independence. When you can't get in and out of a car, then obviously that's going to be an issue. But let's not forget, for the active ladies, like this training is potent and it's exciting. If you are bored with your current routine, or if you just suddenly realize that the same old exercise routine you've been doing in your 20s and 30s suddenly now doesn't suit you in your 40s and 50s, then do something else. I mean, this is low impact, this is exciting, it's kind of warrior training, and it's very feminine, and that's what I probably like about it too. Lifting barbells doesn't seem very feminine to me. It's kind of grunt work, it's quite masculine. It's all focused on reps and output and how much you can weight. To wield a 4 or 5 kilo mace and do some flows with it feels kind of a little bit more connected with me as a woman and as a kind of feminine warrior, really. Let's just go with those vibes. Anyway, any questions for me? If you think of some questions later on, just pop them in, send me a DM, create a separate post in the group. I'm happy to answer any questions. And if you have interest, or if the Warrior Woman program intrigues you, you have some questions, let me know, and I'll pop the link to the page with all the details in the comments as well. I've got a few women in there already. It's exciting. We kick off on the 8th with the first coaching call, and then it's going to be a bit of a housekeeping call, and then we will kick off officially the week after that with the first live class, okay? And now remember that the Warrior Woman is now available at a special founders price, and that will go up on the 1st of January quite significantly. And I've got a payment plan as well, so you can start from $347 today, okay? Thanks again for reminding how amazing this tool is. It sure is, yeah. You can kind of feel that I'm excited about this, right? I don't think I've ever been excited about any other programs that I've created before. It is, I think we're going to create a bit of a movement with this, my loves. Absolutely. It's let's spread the word about training in a way that is a little bit more aligned with the stage of life we are in right now. I mean, we're aging, it's inevitable, but we can adjust our training. We don't have to resign ourselves to just walking in Pilates. We can still do something that is really badass, and that it will cultivate our strength and power without doing boring things, okay? So I think that this is a wonderful... When I was kind of thinking the most successful clients I have had, and they were semi-professional or professional athletes or very active women, but they were just looking for something else. They will give them the same thrill they got when they were marathon runners and competitive powerlifters, but they realize that now they just can't do that kind of training because it breaks them too much. It's just too much on their changing bodies. So this is a really wonderful training modality to replace your old training with. It's low impact. You don't have to jump around. It's got mobility baked in. It's got cardio. It's got power, endurance. You still do your 20-minute interval training sessions with it. You can do your flows for coordination, balance, mobility, and flexibility. So it kind of replaces a lot of things. And the one thing is definitely not boring. Okay, that's what I hear from women a lot. I'm so bored with going to the gym or doing my same old. So this is definitely a little bit of warrior training and excitement. So keep the questions coming, and I will definitely run some more training next week as well. I know it's Christmas, but I will still do a bit of work next week and run some more training. Thank you so much for joining me. Look, we've just made it under half an hour. Awesome. Thank you so much. Mwah. Have a beautiful day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever in the world you are. And I will see you soon for some more awesome training.